Tessa Clark stood on the shoulder when the bridge swallowed the car. No explosion, no Hollywood orange fireball, just a metallic groan like a great animal dying, and 4 tons of pickup vanished into the icy water in 3 seconds. The camera in her hands kept rolling, professional reflex before the brain catches up. Jesus. Her fingers shook on the zoom. Holy Jesus. About 50 meters away, on the far side of the gap, an outsourced crew in yellow hard hats with Aegis North logos froze beside their truck. One man raised a radio to his mouth. Another looked straight at her. Tessa jammed the record button. The time code started. 2:47 in the afternoon and 23 seconds. Wind off the ocean slammed her back, carrying stinging snow. November arrived in Alaska like an ambush, sudden, brutal, without warning. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration promised a whiteout within a day. Already visibility was slashed to about 50 yards. The man in the hard hat started toward her. Broad shoulders, the walk of a Marine. His other hand slipped behind his back. Tessa did not wait. She spun and ran for the Subaru. Gravel crunched under her boots. She tucked the camera under her elbow. The solid-state card knocked against a rib. 22 gigabytes of evidence. If she lost it, it all meant nothing. In the rearview mirror, a yellow hard hat running. Then stopping, radio back to his mouth. Idiot, she said out loud as she shifted. Fool, I should have called the sheriff first thing. But Sheriff Rob Kane did not answer calls from reporters, especially not the ones writing about his department's contracts with Aegis North, especially not the ones filing Freedom of Information Act requests and refusing to go away after the first denial. Tessa pressed the phone button on the steering wheel. Call, Nora Hayes. Ringing. 4 rings. Then the familiar sharp voice. Hayes. This is Tessa Clark. I have a problem. What kind? I just watched the 20-mile bridge collapse with a car, and I have footage of an Aegis North crew doing something there about 20 minutes before it fell. Silence. Brief, but Tessa knew Coast Guard Lieutenant Nora Hayes did not pause without a reason. Any survivors? I do not know. Water under ice, strong current. Did you call 911? I will try, but there is more. The Aegis guys saw me. Another pause. Longer. Where are you? Driving to Harbor Point, the Starlink Cafe. I need to upload the files. Do not go home. Do you hear me? Clark, do not go home. Her heart hammered. Why? If this is what I think it is, you need a witness and a place with cameras. Go to the cafe, sit by the window, order coffee. I will be there in 20. The call dropped. Tessa glanced in the mirror. Empty road, snow starting to cling to the glass. The wipers smeared it into white blur. The phone rang. Unknown number. She did not answer. 30 seconds later again. Same number. She did not answer. A text. Miss Clark, Sheriff Kane. We need to talk. Now. Official. Her fingers tightened on the wheel. Harbor Point 10 more minutes. A cafe. Witnesses. Nora. I understand. I will be at the Harborside Cafe in 10 minutes. Reply. Instant. No. Now. The station. This is not a request. Tessa slowed, pulled onto the shoulder. Her heart pounded so hard it hurt to breathe. The camera lay on the seat, the red light blinking. Still recording. New headlights in the mirror. A white Ford Explorer, the sheriff's badge on the door. Damn. She grabbed the camera, pulled the solid-state card, shoved it into the inner pocket of her jacket. She slid a second, empty card into the slot, powered the camera back on, set it on the dash, lens toward her. The Explorer stopped behind her. Boots on gravel, a knock on the window. Tessa cracked it down. Sheriff Rob Kane looked at her with an expression of concern she might have bought if she did not know how much his department got from Aegis each year. 42. 55 the previous years. Straight from the budget reports. Miss Clark, you hear about the bridge? I was just there. I need your statement, and your footage, if you have it. His voice was calm, professional. His eyes were not. Of course. At the station? That is right. Let us roll. May I drive my own car? Better if you ride with me. The weather is going to hell, roads close in an hour. We will bring your car later. Tessa looked at the recording camera, at the phone, at Kane. All right? She shut the camera off, took the phone, left the keys in the ignition. She stepped into the snow. Kane walked her to the Explorer and opened the back door. Sorry, protocol. I am a witness, not a suspect. Exactly. Witness protection. He smiled. Do not worry. Tessa slid in. The door closed with a soft click. The central lock engaged. She pulled out her phone. No signal. Kane got behind the wheel, pulled away. Service drops when there is a storm. The Sims cannot hand off between towers fast enough. Tessa said nothing. The road toward Harbor Point, but the Explorer turned the other way. We are not going to the station. First, we are picking up Dr. Gray. He crossed the bridge about an hour before the collapse. He may have seen something. Who? A local psychologist. Works with fishing families. Good man. Tessa stared out the window. The road narrowed. Woods. The snow thickened. Jack Gray was pressing a bandage to a girl's arm when the sheriff called. Doc, I need a favor. I am busy. The gauze went red. 10 years old, a fall from a bike. Call Sarah. Sarah is in Anchorage. This is urgent. Jack glanced at the girl's father, a tattooed fisherman, crushing his cap in both hands and breathing too fast. How urgent. A witness in the bridge incident. A reporter. I need to bring her in, but I am alone and she is jumpy. A woman's presence would help. I am not a woman's presence, Kane. You are a psychologist and a former pararescue jumper. If the weather turns, we may need you at the collapse site. Jack laid down the final wrap. 20 minutes. 10. Thank you, Doc. He finished the dressing, gave the father a list of instructions, washed his hands, and glanced at the mirror over the sink. 41. Gray stubble on his cheeks. A scar from brow to temple, a gift from a rotor on an HH-60 that came apart during a medevac in Kandahar. 13 years ago, it felt like a lifetime. He pulled on a tactical jacket with a patch that read, Pararescue Retired, grabbed his medical pack, and stepped into the snow. The Explorer waited at the gate. Jack climbed into the front seat and turned. The woman in back had dark hair, wet with snow, and eyes that looked at him like they were searching for a way out. The camera lay on her lap. Her fingers clenched the strap until the knuckles went white. Tessa Clark, she said. Jack Gray. Are you really a psychologist? I was a combat medic, then a psychologist. Today, I am whatever is needed. She did not reply. She looked out the window. Kane drove. The road snaked through spruce, the snow turning into a white wall. The wipers barely kept up. Doc, how long until a whiteout, you think? 2 hours, 3 at most. Noah says less. Noah tends to be pessimistic. Kane laughed. Tessa did not. Jack watched her in the side mirror. Tension in her shoulders. Shallow breathing. Wide pupils. Are you all right? He asked softly. She looked at him, then at Kane, then back to Jack. No, she whispered so Kane could not hear. Not all right. Jack nodded, slowly pulled out his phone, keeping it below the sheriff's line of sight. He opened notes and typed, What is wrong? He tipped the screen toward her. Tessa looked, then at her own phone. No signal. She took his phone, typed fast. He is lying. We are not going to the station. I saw the collapse. I saw Aegis North. Kane is on their payroll. I have evidence. She handed back the phone. Jack read it, deleted it, pocketed the phone. He looked at the sheriff. Rob, are we actually picking up someone else? Yeah, Dr. Miller. She examined the construction crew last week, might know about metal fatigue. Where is she? At the old clinic, about 10 miles away. Jack watched the road. They were driving north. The old clinic was south. You turned the wrong way. Kane did not answer at once. Shorter route, he said finally. A detour. Jack took his phone out again, opened the map. The GPS showed their position, Old Harbor Road, a dead end. It led to a mothballed dew-line radar site. Nowhere else. He looked at Tessa. She looked back. Jack slowly set his hand on the seat belt buckle. Rob, he said evenly, stop. What? Stop, now. Doc, what are you? Stop, or I will do it for you. Kane braked hard. The Explorer fishtailed on the snow, wheels locking. Have you lost your mind? Jack watched him. We are not going to the station. We are not picking up a witness. You are taking us to nowhere, and I want to know why. Kane was silent. 5 seconds. Then his hand moved toward his holster. Jack was faster. 13 years of pararescue, 300 missions. Reflexes do not fade. He seized Kane's wrist, twisted, took the Glock, and racked it. A round popped out and flew past the window. Out, Jack said. Kane stared, his face flushed. You just assaulted the sheriff. You just abducted a witness. Out. Tessa lunged at the back door and yanked the handle. Locked. Jack reached and hit the unlock button. The door opened. Tessa tumbled into the snow. Run, Jack said. She did not wait. Kane lunged, but Jack pinned him to the door. Do not do anything stupid. She will steal the truck. She does not have the keys. Damn it. Jack shoved him away and stepped out. Tessa was already 20 yards away, camera in hand, a white plume of snow behind her. He ran after her. Clark, stop. She did not. Jack sprinted. He caught her at about 50 yards and grabbed her shoulder. She spun with the camera like a weapon. Do not touch me. I am not. He raised both hands. I am not with him. Do you hear me? I am not with him. How do I know that? Because I just tackled the sheriff for you. He was breathing hard. The cold air burned his lungs. And because I have a phone with a signal. He held it out. 2 bars. Tessa stared. Who are you? Jack Gray, former pararescue jumper. Now a psychologist who lives in the woods and tries to forget Afghanistan. He offered the phone. Call whoever you need. Fast. Because Kane is coming and he has a backup gun. Tessa took the phone. Dialed. Ringing. Nora, it is me. It is bad. Kane took me. Jack Gray pulled me out. We are on Old Harbor Road, about 2 miles off the highway. A pause. No, I cannot. Snow. I cannot see the road. Another pause. Understood. She handed back the phone. She says head west. There is an old fishing shack about half a mile away. She will come. How long? 20 minutes. Jack checked his watch. 3:34 in the afternoon. White out by 5 in the afternoon if Noah was wrong. Earlier if Noah was right. He turned. The Explorer sat still, a door open. No sign of Kane. Let us move, he said. They pushed into the snow. Tessa entered first. Jack followed and shut the door. Darkness. Then a bar of light from his flashlight. 1 room, bunk beds, a pot-belly stove, a table, 2 chairs, a window boarded over from the inside. A palace, Tessa said. Warm and dry. That is enough. Jack dropped his pack on the table and checked the stove. Chimney clear, firewood in a box dry, matches sealed in plastic. Tessa stood by the door, gripping the camera. He will come here. Probably. What do we do? We wait for Nora. Jack lit kindling, fed it into the stove, added wood. Flame caught, hungry. If Kane gets here first, we talk. About what? About what you have. The evidence. He wants it back. We want to live. We can negotiate. Tessa laughed. The sound was bitter. You do not understand. Aegis North is billions. Contracts across Alaska. He will not just take the evidence. He will take me. Then we give him no choice. She looked at him. How? Jack held out his hand. Do you have a signal? Tessa checked. 1 bar. Barely. Enough. He extended his palm. Give me the card. What? The solid-state drive. I know you have it. You pulled it when he stopped you. I saw. Tessa did not move. How did you? I am pararescue. We notice everything. Give me the card. We will push it to the cloud. If he takes it, a copy survives. She slowly drew the card from her pocket. A small black rectangle. Jack took it and slid it into his laptop, an old military Panasonic Toughbook he kept in his pack. He powered it on. It booted. Do you have a cloud account? No, I do not trust them. Smart. He opened an encrypted messenger. I will send it to Nora. She keeps secrets better than any vault. His fingers drummed the keys. The progress bar crawled. 12%, 34%, 58%. Tessa stared at the window. The snow fell thicker. Visibility only a few yards. Tell me about the bridge, Jack said. What about it? What you saw. She turned. Why? Because if Kane comes, I need to know what we are up against. Tessa sat on a bunk. She set the camera beside her. I have been writing about Aegis North's contracts, securing critical infrastructure, bridges, ports, radar sites. They got 300 million over 3 years. She wiped her face. But the figures do not add up. Too much money for unscheduled inspections. Too many subcontractors no one has ever seen. And you decided to check. I drove to 20 Mile. I wanted to shoot the crew, talk to them. She fell silent. They were doing something under the bridge, with the fasteners, about 20 minutes before the collapse. Are you sure? I am a reporter. I am sure when I have video. Jack watched the screen. Was anyone in the car, the one that fell? I do not know. I did not see. Kane says no, but he might be lying. Tessa stood and stepped to the window. She touched the plank. Why did you help me? Jack did not answer at once. Because I know what it looks like when someone is scared in the right way. You were scared in the right way. He would not have killed me. Maybe not, but he would have made you disappear, and the evidence would have gone with you. He shut the laptop. Done. Nora has everything. Tessa turned. Thank you. Do not thank me. We have not gotten out yet. Tessa sat across from him. Are you really a psychologist? I was. These days, I am more of a patient. Post-traumatic stress. We do not call it that anymore, but yes, something like it. Afghanistan. Kandahar. A helicopter went down during a medevac. 4 died. I pulled 3 out. But one, he stopped. One was trapped. I saw his eyes. He begged, and I could not do anything. Tessa was quiet. How many years ago? 13. But sometimes it feels like yesterday. She nodded. My brother died in Iraq. 2007. I was in college. He wrote a letter a week before he was killed. I did not answer. I figured I had time. She looked at her hands. I did not. Jack reached and touched her palm. I am sorry. It is not your fault. It is not yours either. She looked up at him. Her eyes were dark and tired, but alive. Why do you live out here, in the woods, alone? Because it is quiet. Because no one asks questions. Because. The shack door blew inward. Kane stood on the threshold, a Glock in his fist, face red with cold and rage. Hands on the table. Both of you, now. Jack did not move. Rob, lower the gun. Hands on the table. Tessa slowly raised her hands and set them on the wood. Jack did the same. Kane stepped in and closed the door. He kept the pistol trained on them. The card. Where is it? With me, Jack said. Hand it over. No. Kane aimed at Tessa. Do it, or I will shoot her. Jack looked at him. You will not. Why not? Because then you would have to shoot me too, and explain two bodies. Aegis will pay you a lot, but not that much. Kane said nothing. His hand trembled. You do not understand who you are dealing with. I do, with a sack of money that thinks it is untouchable. Jack leaned forward. But you already made a mistake, Kane. The files are in the cloud. Nora Hayes has them. The Federal Bureau of Investigation is already in the loop. You can pull the trigger and nothing will change. You are lying. Check. Kane pulled his phone. He glanced at the screen. 3 missed calls from Nora Hayes. 1 text. Rob, turn yourself in. I have all the evidence. The FBI is en route. If you touch the witnesses, it is a federal kidnapping. Kane lowered his hand. Damn. He sank to the floor with his back to the wall. The pistol tumbled beside him. Tessa was breathing fast. Jack stood, took the gun, and dropped the magazine. Is Nora coming? Tessa nodded. She should be here in about 10 minutes. Jack looked at Kane. The sheriff sat with his head down. Why did you do it? Kane laughed quiet, bitter. Because they offered a future. A new station. Equipment. Salaries. Everything the state would not fund. He lifted his head. I did not want anyone hurt. Just a little chaos. A little fear. So people would see we needed more security. And the bridge. They said just loosen the fasteners. Enough to sag. So inspectors would flag it. Not a collapse. His voice broke. I did not know it would go now. Tessa rose. Was anyone in that car? No. I checked. I swear, no one was driving that road at 2 in the afternoon. Tessa turned away. Her hands trembled. Jack stepped to her. Breathe. Slow. I cannot. She swayed. He caught her and sat her on the bunk. Head between your knees. Breathe. She obeyed. Slowly, in out. Outside an engine. Headlights cut the snow. Jack peered through a crack in the boards. A white pickup. The Coast Guard logo on the door. Nora, he said. The door opened. Lieutenant Nora Hayes came in with 2 state troopers. She looked at Kane. On your feet, Rob. Kane stood. 1 trooper cuffed him. Nora went to Tessa. Are you hurt? No. I got the files. Already passed them to Anchorage. The FBI is opening a case. She looked at Jack. Gray, strange to see you vertical. Likewise, Hayes. She smiled. It did not reach her eyes. Let us go. We will take complete statements at Harbor Point. Nora turned to Kane. You will wait for the feds in a cell. They led Kane out. Tessa stood and picked up the camera. Jack grabbed his pack. Nora paused at the door. Gray, thank you. No need. There is. She hesitated. She is a good person. Do not break her heart. Jack glanced at Tessa. She stood by the stove, looking into the fire. That is not what this is. Not yet, Nora said, but it will be. She stepped out. Jack walked to Tessa. Ready? She turned. The fire threw shadows across her face. No, but we need to go. They stepped into the storm. Harbor Point Station was a low sprawl of concrete and glass clinging to a slope above the ocean. Inside smelled like coffee, ozone from equipment, and the sea salt that seeped into everything. Tessa sat in a witness room wrapped in a Coast Guard thermal blanket. Her hands cupped an empty paper cup. In front of her, Nora's laptop looped the footage from the camera. 2:47 in the afternoon and 23 seconds. Yellow hard hats. An Aegis North truck. A man beneath the bridge with a drill. Fasteners ringing under the blows. 2:49 in the afternoon and 16 seconds. The man stands, waves to his partner. They pack their tools. 2:51 in the afternoon and 3 seconds. The truck drives away. 2:53 in the afternoon and 47 seconds. The bridge groans. 2:54 in the afternoon and 12 seconds. The fall. Will that hold up as evidence? Tessa asked without taking her eyes off the screen. Nora sat across from her, flipping through papers. More than enough. Combined with the financials and Kane's admissions, Aegis has a very large problem. She looked up. But we need more. Physical proof. The scene under the bridge is gone with the current, but there is something else. What? The Dew Line radar site. Old Harbor Road does not lead there by accident. Kane said he was taking you to Dr. Miller, but no one has worked there for 2 years. Nora slid over a satellite photo. Look, tracks in winter. Fresh. Someone is using the mothballed site. Tessa leaned in. Packed snow tracks. A generator. A container. What are they doing out there? Unknown. I want to know. And you need to film it. When? Tomorrow morning. The FBI flies in by evening, but the whiteout lasts about 2 days. If Aegis knows we are on them, they will scrub that place before the feds arrive. Tessa set down the cup. Who is going? Me. You. Jack Gray. Why him? Nora smiled. Because it is a Cold War site in the middle of nowhere in a storm at 20 below. If something goes sideways, survival matters. And Gray is the best I know at survival. Did he agree? I have not asked yet. Tessa was quiet. Then, he is strange. All pararescue jumpers are strange. They jump out of airplanes into hell to haul people back. Normal does not sign up for that. Nora leaned closer. But he is good. If it goes to hell, stay close to him. The door opened. Jack came in with 2 cups of coffee. He set one in front of Tessa. Black, no sugar. Did I guess right? Yes, thank you. He took a chair. Nora watched them. Gray, I need your help. I am listening. She spread out a map. Old Harbor Road, the Dew radar, activity despite being shut down. We move at first light tomorrow. You, me, Clark. Jack studied the map. The weather? Bad. But there is a window from 6 to 10 in the morning, per NOAA. Then more storm. Gear. 2 Scandic WT-600 snowmobiles. A spare snowcat if needed. A satellite link. You carry medical. Jack nodded. Risks. Aegis may have people on site. Kane is not talking, but his phone shows 9 calls to Ruska Thorne in the last 2 days. Who is that? Head of security for Aegis North. Former Naval Special Warfare Development Group DevGru. Not the man you want to meet in the middle of nothing. Jack looked at Tessa. Are you sure you want to go? This is my story. This is your life. Stories can wait. Tessa shook her head. If I do not go, they win. I will not let them win. Jack was silent. Then, all right, I am in. Nora folded the map. Rendezvous at 5 in the morning. Now sleep, both of you. Tessa did not sleep. She lay on a narrow bunk in the station's guest room, stared at the ceiling, and listened to the wind batter the window. The clock read 2:17 in the morning. It replayed in her head. The bridge. Kane. Jack wrenching the sheriff's wrist faster than she could feel afraid. His voice, run. Why had he done that? No one does that for strangers. Not in Alaska, where everyone keeps distance because winters are long and people are unreliable. She got up, pulled on a sweater, and stepped into the hallway. The kitchen light was on. The sound of coffee pouring. Jack stood at the window with a cup in hand, watching the storm. You are not asleep? Tessa said. He did not startle. He had heard her earlier. I rarely sleep. Post-traumatic stress. Something like that. She poured herself coffee and joined him. They stood in silence. The wind roared. Tell me about Afghanistan, Tessa said quietly. Jack did not answer for a long time. Then, why? Because you know my story, I want to know yours. He smiled, sadly. It is not an interesting story. All the terrible stories are interesting. Jack sipped the coffee. We were pulling out the wounded. 7 Marines were trapped. We flew in under fire, loaded 5. 2 were deeper in a building. I went back for them. Alone? My partner covered outside. I found the first, carried him out, went back for the second. He stopped. The second was under a beam. I tried to lift it. I could not. I called my partner. We lifted together. We almost had it. Then a rocket hit the wall. Tessa tightened her grip on the cup. What happened? The roof came down. My partner died instantly. I blew through a window and wrecked my shoulder. And that Marine, his voice cracked. He looked at me. He asked for help. My ears rang. I tried to get up and I could not. Then the helicopter took me and I watched the building burn. You could not have done anything. I could have, if I had moved faster, if I had not waited for my partner, if I had... Tessa touched his hand. You did everything you could, otherwise you would be dead too. Maybe that would have been better. No. She squeezed his fingers. Then you would not have saved me today. Jack looked at her. His eyes were dark and tired, but something shifted in them. I did not save you. You saved yourself. That is a lie. I would not have gotten out without you. They stood close, too close. Tessa felt his warmth, the smell of coffee and wood smoke clinging to his clothes. She felt her heartbeat climb. Jack, do not, he whispered. Do not what? What you are thinking. How do you know what I am thinking? Because I am thinking it too, and it is a bad idea. Why? Because tomorrow we go into a storm after people who kill for money. If I start thinking of you as more than the mission, I make mistakes. And mistakes out there cost lives. Tessa let his hand go. I understand. I am sorry. Do not apologize. You are right. She stepped away and set the cup in the sink. I am going to bed. Good night. Tessa. She stopped at the door. What? When this is over, may I call you? She turned, smiled, for the first time, honestly. You may. She left. Jack stayed at the window. The coffee cooled. The storm howled. And he knew the next hours would be the hardest of his life. Dawn in an Alaskan winter is a suggestion more than a fact. The sky lifted from black to gray. The snow did not stop. Jack checked the station's snowmobiles. Scandic WT-600's workhorses built for the Arctic. Tanks full, tracks clean, engines responsive. Nora-loaded gear, ropes, carabiners, flares, a Garmin InReach satellite communicator. A Sig Sauer P226 on a thigh holster. Tessa checked the camera. 2 spare batteries, cold weather cover, a dry bag. Jack walked over. Did you eat? I am not hungry. I did not ask if you are hungry. I asked if you ate. Tessa sighed. No. He handed her an energy bar. Eat. In the cold, your body burns 3,000 calories in a few hours. Hungry gets you frozen faster. She took the bar. Are you always this boring? Only when I want people to live. Nora stepped up and spread a map on the snowmobile seat. Listen up. The route is simple Old Harbor Road, then the winter trail to the radar site. 30 miles. In good weather, 2 hours. In this, maybe 4. She traced a finger. 3 critical points. First crossing Willow Creek. Thin ice from a warm current. We probe before we drive. How? Tessa asked. Jack goes out and punches with a probe. If the ice holds, we roll. If not, we detour. Jack nodded. Second point. Eagle Ridge Pass. Avalanche hazard. If we see fresh slide debris, we stop and assess. Third. The radar site itself. If Aegis has people there, we do not play hero. We document, we get out. The FBI handles the rest. And if they do not let us leave? Tessa asked. Nora looked at her. Then Jack does what he does, and we run. Jack smiled thinly. Outstanding plan. Do you have a better one? No. Nora folded the map. We move. The weather window closes at 10. We have 4 hours out, an hour on site, 2 hours back. If we miss it, we spend the night out there. Where? In the radar site. There is an emergency bunker. Not comfortable, but warm. Tessa looked at Jack. He did not look back. They mounted the snowmobiles. Nora and Jack on the lead machine. Tessa on the second, behind Nora. Engines growled. The sleds leapt forward. The road vanished in 30 seconds. They drove in white emptiness. Jack led, a GPS on the bars, a compass on his wrist. Every 500 yards he halted, checked the bearing, moved on. Tessa clung to Nora's waist. Her hands went numb even inside mitts. Her face burned with cold. She tried not to think about how far they were from any help. After an hour first stop, Jack stepped off with a 2-meter probe. He moved to the creek's edge. Tessa pulled off her goggles and wiped them. She saw only his silhouette, a black figure moving slow and methodical, thumping the probe, listening, crossing. Nora spoke into the radio. Station, this is Hayes. We are at Willow Creek, checking the ice. A reply through static. Copy, Lieutenant. Weather is worsening. White out until 9 in the morning. Jack came back, waved his hand. Safe. They drove across the creek. The ice cracked, but it held. On the other side, forest. Spruces stood like ghosts, crusted with snow. The trail narrowed. After half an hour, Jack stopped again. He pulled off a glove and pointed at the Global Positioning System unit. Nora pulled up beside him, glanced down. What? Tracks. Fresh. Tessa stepped off and came closer. In the snow-deep ruts, 2 snowmobiles, heavily loaded. Time a few hours ago. Aegis, she asked. Jack crouched and touched a tread. Heavy machines, Scandic or Yamaha, carrying cargo. He looked at Nora. They are there. How many people? 2 or 4. No more. Any more would need fuel support. Nora thought. We keep going, but carefully. They moved on. Eagle Ridge Pass met them with wind. Not just whined a wall of air, hitting so hard the snowmobile rocked. Jack braked and signaled. They dismounted and pressed against the machines. Nora shouted through the wind, See anything? Jack stared upward. The slope vanished into white, but the sound, a low hum coming from inside the mountain, said everything. Avalanche danger. We need a detour. Where? Lower, through the valley. That is plus 1 hour. Or plus forever under the snow. Your call. Nora hesitated, then nodded. They turned downhill. The valley was narrower, darker. Spruces stood tight, branches grabbing at the snowmobiles, but quieter, safer. Tessa checked her watch. 8:40 in the morning. The window was closing. Suddenly a sound. Not wind, not an engine, something else. Jack stopped hard, Nora behind him. Silence. Then again, a distant rumble, like thunder, but underground. Jack ripped off a glove and touched the snow. Vibration. They are coming, he said. Fast. Nora drew her pistol. How many? 2, from the north. Have they seen us? Not yet, but they will in a minute. Nora looked at Tessa. Hide. In the trees. Do not come out until I say. And you? We will talk to them. Tessa ran to the spruces and crouched behind a trunk. She pulled out her camera and switched it on. Jack and Nora stood by the snowmobiles. Nora kept the pistol hidden behind her back. Jack rested his hands on the bars, relaxed, but ready. The rumble grew nearer. 2 figures came out of the white. Arctic Cat snowmobiles. Black, heavy, with Aegis North logos. The riders stopped at about 20 yards. They pulled off their masks. The first a man of about 50, weathered face, a scar across his cheek. The second younger, broad-shouldered, eyes that did not blink. The older one stepped off and came closer, hands down but tension in his shoulders. Need help? His voice was calm but cold. Nora smiled. No, thanks. Just a winter route. Strange day for a joyride. We are with the United States Coast Guard, inspecting winter trails, routine. The man looked at her, then at Jack, then at the snowmobiles. Coast Guard is a long way from the ocean. Jurisdiction reaches inland waterways, Nora said, holding out identification. Lieutenant Nora Hayes. And you are? Kyle Drake, Security, Aegis North. He did not show identification. What exactly are you inspecting? Passability after the storm. Possibility of evacuation. Evacuation from where? From a distant early warning line radar. It is mothballed, but remains federal property. We are responsible for safety. Drake smiled, without warmth. The radar is closed. Restricted area. Federal area. The Coast Guard has right of access. Not without notice. In an emergency, yes. Nora stepped forward. Is there a problem, Mr. Drake? He said nothing. The younger man behind him put a hand on his belt. Jack saw it. Listen, Jack said evenly. We are not looking for trouble. Just doing our job. You are doing yours. We can go our separate ways. Drake watched him. You are not Coast Guard. True. I am a medic. Back and support if something happens. Nothing will happen. Then everyone gets lucky. Tension hung in the air like static. Nora stepped toward her snowmobile. Have a good day, Mr. Drake. She mounted and started the engine. Drake did not move. Jack mounted, started his machine. Drake raised a hand and spoke into a radio. Quietly, Tessa did not hear the words. They rode away. After about 100 yards, Nora stopped and looked back. Drake stood motionless, watching. Damn, Nora said. He passed it along to someone. Jack nodded. Rusk's people. I would bet on it. Tessa came out from the trees. What do we do? Nora checked her watch. 9:15 in the morning. We go to the radar. Fast. Before they shut the route. They took off at full speed, and Tessa knew the return would be much harder. The distant early warning line radar sat on the summit like a giant skeleton, a dome about 10 meters across, glazed with ice and snow, antennas crumpled and broken. Buildings around it concrete boxes, windows boarded, doors welded shut. But one building a hangar glowed from within. Jack stopped his snowmobile 200 yards out, behind a ridge of rocks. Nora and Tessa pulled up beside him. They dismounted and crouched. Jack raised binoculars and looked. 2 snowmobiles by the entrance. A generator running. Lights in the windows. Movement inside. How many people? Nora asked. Cannot see. At least 3, maybe more. Tessa lifted her camera and zoomed in. On the screen, the hangar, doors open. Inside racks of equipment. Computers, servers, a man in an Aegis field jumpsuit carrying crates. What is that? She whispered. Jack looked. Telemetry. They are collecting data. What kind of data? I do not know. But this is not infrastructure security. It is something else. Nora took a satellite phone, snapped a photo, and sent it to the Federal Bureau of Investigation. A reply arrived 2 minutes later. Get more. Equipment. Serial numbers. People, if possible, do not approach. Nora showed Tessa. Can you get closer? I will try. They moved along the spine of the ridge, staying below the line of sight. The snow helped white noise muffling sound. At about 100 yards, Tessa stopped, lay on the snow, and set the camera. She began to film. Jack lay beside her, covering with binoculars. Nora to the right, pistol in hand. Tessa filmed. Faces, logos on crates, server serial numbers, computer screens anything readable. Suddenly movement at the door. A man stepped out. Tall, broad-shouldered, iron-gray stubble, dark glasses even in snow. His bearing military, his gait predatory. Jack went still. It is him, Rusk Thorne. Thorne took out a radio, spoke into it. He turned and looked straight their way. Damn, Nora whispered. He knows. How? Drake warned him. She shoved Tessa. We are leaving, now. They started to crawl back. Tessa clutched the camera, heart pounding. Thorne raised a hand. 3 men came out of the hangar, armed, R-15 rifles, as Jack saw through the binoculars. Faster, he said. They ran for the snowmobiles. Behind them a shout, then a gunshot. Fire up! Nora vaulted onto her snowmobile and started it. Jack a second later. Tessa fumbled the key, hands shaking. Breathe, Jack shouted. Steady. She inhaled, turned the key. The engine caught. They blasted forward. Behind them engines howled. 3 Aegis snowmobiles shot out from behind the hangar and gave chase. Nora led, cutting the path. Jack followed, shielding Tessa. He glanced back every few seconds. The gap shrank. Their snowmobiles were heavier, but faster. Nora, Jack called over the radio. They are closing. I see them. Hold the line. Where to? The forest. In the tight stuff they lose. They knifed into the spruces. Branches slapped their helmets. Snow exploded in clouds. Maneuvering sharp, dangerous. Tessa's machine fishtailed. She nearly clipped a trunk. Jack stopped, turned. 3 pursuers burst after them. The first young, aggressive, charging straight through. The second more careful, holding distance. The third Thorne, calm, methodical, unhurried. Jack gunned forward and caught up to Tessa. Stay on me. Do not drop back. I am trying. Nora jerked hard to the right. Jack followed. Tessa barely made it. The trees ended. An open slope. Steep, glazed with ice. Down, Nora shouted. Only down. They plunged, snowmobiles bucking over ruts. Gravity yanked them forward, steering minimal. Tessa felt control slipping. The track skated, the machine yawed. Jack! He was beside her, riding close. Do not brake, just steer. She obeyed. The track sang. Snow a white wall. At the bottom, a river. Nora braked, slid sideways, and stopped at the edge of the ice. Jack and Tessa behind her. Behind them, the 3 pursuers shot from the woods and began the descent. Nora studied the river. The ice is thin. See the cracks? Jack nodded. Where the current runs, it will not hold. Will it hold us? Maybe, if we are quick. Nora glanced at the pursuers. 100 yards and closing. We go. Fast, no stopping. They hit the ice. A crunch, low and terrible. Cracks spidered out under the tracks. Faster, Jack yelled. Nora opened the throttle. The snowmobile flew across the brittle surface. Tessa followed, feeling the ice bow under her. Cold terror cinched her throat. Jack brought up the rear. He looked back. The pursuers reached the ice. The first too aggressive. His snowmobile punched through with the nose and stuck. The man bailed out and ran for the bank. The second slowed, edged around the fracture. Thorne stopped on the shore. He keyed his radio. He watched. Nora, Jack, and Tessa reached the far bank. They climbed out and halted. One pursuer stuck. One in the middle of the river, weaving slowly. Thorne watching. Why is he not coming? Tessa asked. Jack kept his eyes on him. Because he is smart. He knows he will catch up later. Nora fired up her engine. Move, while we have time. They went. The way back felt endless. Snow thickened. Visibility about 50 feet. The global positioning system showed the route, but the land had to be guessed. Jack led, stopping every 10 minutes to check the course. His hands went numb. His face burned with cold. Tessa rode as if in a fog. The adrenaline had ebbed, leaving exhaustion. The camera inside her jacket felt heavy as lead. Evidence, faces, numbers. Everything the Federal Bureau of Investigation needed, if she lived to hand it over. An hour later, the first failure. Nora's engine coughed, sagged, died. She tried to start it. Nothing. Jack pulled up and dismounted. What happened? I do not know. It just quit. He popped the cowling and looked. A power lead torn. Vibration. I can fix it. I need 5 minutes. We do not have 5 minutes. Then we do not have a snowmobile. Nora swore. Jack worked fast. His fingers barely obeyed. The cold gnawed to the bone. He twisted the wires together, wrapped them with tape, dropped the cowling. Try it. Nora turned the key. The engine coughed and caught. Good. Let us go. They rode. About 15 minutes later, a sound. Distant. An engine hum. One from the south. Jack halted and listened. He is coming. Who? Tessa asked. Thorne. Alone. He left the rest. Why? Because he is hunting, and hunting goes better solo. Nora drew the pistol. How much time do we have? 20 minutes, maybe less. The highway is 40 minutes. He will catch up. Nora thought. Then, there is an emergency shelter, 2 miles from here, an old weather station. We can hole up until the storm worsens. He will not risk a whiteout. Jack nodded. Lead on. They went. The weather station, a tiny building half buried in snow. The door was blocked, but Jack smashed the lock with a rifle butt. They hauled in their packs and barred themselves inside. Within cold, dark, cramped. One room, a table, a chair, empty shelves. Nora checked the phone. No signal. Damn. Jack inspected the windows. Small, but not boarded. If he comes, there are 2 exits. Rear window, front door. We split. No, Tessa said. We do not split. Jack looked at her. If we stay together, he pins us. I do not care. Do not leave me. Her voice was scared, but firm. Jack was quiet. Then he nodded. Okay? Nora watched them. Something flickered in her eyes, but she did not speak. They waited. The sound drew near. The engine cut out about 100 yards away. Jack stood at the window and peered through a crack in the boards. White, snow, nothing. Then motion, a shadow sliding among the trees. Thorne did not hurry. He knew they were boxed. Nora crouched by the door, pistol in both hands. Her breathing was controlled, her grip steady. Tessa sat in the corner, crushing the camera in her hands. Her heart hammered so loud it seemed everyone could hear it. Jack pulled a knife, a Kabar, military issue, with a 7-inch blade. No match for an R-15, but better than nothing. Silence. Then a knock at the door. Lieutenant Hayes, Thorne's voice, unruffled, almost friendly. Open up. Let us talk. Nora said nothing. I do not want problems. You entered private property and filmed confidential information. Hand over the camera, and we all go home. Jack moved quietly to the back window and glanced out. No one. Yet, Lieutenant, Thorne continued, you are a smart woman. You know how the world works. Aegis North holds contracts with the federal government. We do important work. What you saw is classified. If you publish, you break the law. What classification? Nora shouted. You are a private company. We operate under federal tasking. We have clearances. You do not. Lies. Thorne went silent. Then, all right. Hard way. A pause. Dr. Gray. Are you there? Jack did not answer. I know who you are. Pararescue. 13 years of service. Kandahar, Helmand, Kabul. 83 successful missions. The voice came closer. You are a hero, Doctor. Why wreck your life for someone you barely know? Jack gripped the knife. And Miss Clark, Thorne's voice softened, a journalist, an idealist, thinks she can change the world with one story. A laugh. But the world does not change, Miss Clark. It chews up people like you and spits out the bones. Tessa stared at the door. Her hands trembled. "Last offer," Thorne said. "The camera, now, or I come in hard." Nora looked at Jack. He nodded. She shouted, "Try it." Thorne sighed. "A shame." Down, on the floor. Jack moved to the back window and peeked. Thorne stood about 10 yards out, sighting on the glass. "Damn!" Jack ducked back. A round shattered the pane and ripped over his head. Nora pivoted and fired through the broken window. Thorne slid behind a tree. "We are boxed," she shouted. Jack scanned. Door, windows, walls, floor. The floor. He crouched and tapped the boards. One sounded hollow. He pried it up with a knife. Below, a crawl space. Dark, tight, but big enough. "Here," he waved to Tessa. "Drop in." "Where?" "Down, now." She did not argue. She slipped into the hole and vanished. Jack looked at Nora. "Your turn." "No, you first." "Nora, that is an order. Gray, in." He swore and slid into the hole. Tight, cold, smelling of earth and mold. He twisted and lay beside Tessa. Darkness. They lay still, breathing through their mouths to avoid fogging the air. Above, footsteps. Heavy. Thorne entered the room. Silence. He was looking around. "Clever," he murmured, "but pointless." Steps to the hole in the floor. They stopped right above them. Tessa squeezed the camera. Jack held the knife. Nora the pistol. Thorne crouched. They could hear him breathing. "I know you are here." No one moved. "I could toss a grenade, but I do not want to ruin evidence." A pause. "Come out. One at a time. Hands up." Jack whispered in Nora's ear, "On 3." Nora nodded. 1. Jack coiled like a spring. 2. Nora leveled the pistol. 3. "Run!" Jack yelled. Tessa burst out and sprinted for the door. Nora after her. Jack last. They exploded into the storm. The snowmobiles sat where they had left them. Nora started hers and Tessa leaped on behind. Jack mounted his own. They tore away into the white curtain. Thorne stepped out of the weather station. He watched them go. He took up his radio. "Drake, they are heading for the highway. Block them." The answer. "In position." Thorne smiled. He swung onto his snowmobile, started it, and followed. The world became a white hell. No road, no sky, no ground, only snow horizontal, furious, lashing the face like fine shrapnel. Jack rode blind, guided by the global positioning system and instinct. The compass on his wrist spun, course 190 degrees, south, toward the highway. Behind him, Thorne's engine, distant but relentless. Nora rode abreast, barely visible. Tessa hugged her waist, face buried in her shoulder. Suddenly, Nora cut hard left. "Nora," Jack shouted over the static, "where is the highway?" The reply through the hiss. "A bypass. Drake is on the highway. I saw headlights." "Where are you going?" "The cabin, Old Hunter's camp, about 3 miles." "In a whiteout?" "No choice." Jack cursed and turned after her. Snow thickened. Visibility dropped to 10 feet, then 5, then nothing. Nora's machine vanished. Jack stopped and yelled, "Nora, where are you?" Silence. Wind roared. He dismounted and stumbled forward, calling out. A shape loomed. Nora, coming back, dragging Tessa by the hand. "Here," she shouted. Jack ran up. The sled, stuck in a drift. Damn. They reached the machine. The rear track had dug into the axle. Jack tried to yank it free. It would not budge. "We ditch it," Nora shouted. "All on one." They grabbed the packs and piled onto Jack's snowmobile. 3 up, heavy. The engine labored. They crawled forward, too slow. Behind Thorne's engine, closer. Suddenly, something dark ahead. A wall, a building. The cabin. Jack braked and almost plowed into the wall. They dismounted. The door locked. Jack slammed his shoulder. It did not give. Again. The hinges cracked and the door flew inward. They stumbled inside. Dark, cold, but no wind. Nora shoved the door closed and jammed a chair under the latch. Jack clicked on a flashlight. One room, a stove, a table, bunks, a window. Tessa fell onto a bunk, breathing hard. He will catch up. I know, Jack said. Nora checked the pistol. 4 rounds. He has 30. Fun. Jack went to the stove. There was wood, no matches. He pulled an old service lighter and sparked it. Flame bloomed. Tessa watched him. Why? He will see the smoke. He already knows where we are. Without heat, we freeze within an hour. She said nothing. Jack came over and crouched beside her. Show me your hands. She held them out, fingers white and stiff, frost nips starting. He took off his gloves, took her palms in his, and began to rub. Hurts? Yes. Good. Pain means the nerves are alive. He kept going. Slow, gentle. Warmth seeped into her skin. Tessa looked at him. Why did you not leave me? What? At the station. You could have gone, saved yourself, but you stayed. Jack did not answer. Why? He lifted his gaze. His eyes were tired, but honest. Because that is what pararescue jumpers do. We do not leave people behind. That is not just a job. No. Then what is it? He was quiet a long moment. Then, I do not know, but when I look at you, he stopped. I do not want you to disappear. Like him, that Marine. Tessa squeezed his hand. I will not disappear. Promise. I promise. They sat close, too close. Nora looked away, giving them the moment. Suddenly a sound, an engine. It stopped. Jack stood and took the knife. Nora moved to the door, pistol ready. Tessa rose and backed into a corner. Footsteps, approaching. A knock on the door. Dr. Gray, Thorne's voice, tired but even. You have to admit you did well. But the game is over. Jack said nothing. I have reinforcements en route. Drake and 4 more. They will be here in 20 minutes. You have 4 bullets. I have an unlimited supply. The math is simple. Nora kept the sights on the door. But, Thorne went on, I can offer a deal. The camera, all files, and you walk. Lie, Nora said. No, my job is to protect corporate assets, not to kill. If you hand over the evidence, the threat is removed. No reason to touch you. Jack looked at Tessa. She looked back. She shook her head. Jack turned to the door. No. Thorne sighed. Then you wait. Footsteps faded. Jack peered through a crack in the window. Thorne sat on his snowmobile at a distance, a pistol on his knee, waiting. Nora checked her watch. 2:35 in the afternoon. In 20 minutes, there will be 5 armed men here. I heard. What do we do? Jack thought. Then he looked at Tessa. The files, they are on the camera. Yes. Copies? With Nora and with the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Jack nodded. He took the camera from her hands. Then we give him the camera. What? Tessa clutched it back. No. Listen. Jack spoke fast. Thorne wants the evidence. We give him the camera. He thinks he wins. He leaves. We wait for backup. He will kill us the moment he has the camera. No, Nora said, stepping closer. Gray is right. Thorne is a professional. He does not want bodies. He wants a clean job. Evidence gone, witnesses released, no ripples. Tessa looked between them. Are you sure? No, Jack said. But the other option is to wait for 5 shotguns. Tessa hugged the camera. It is everything I have. You have copies, and you have your life. Jack touched her face. Trust me. She searched his eyes, then slowly handed over the camera. Jack went to the door, dragged the chair aside, opened it. Thorne stood and walked closer. His shoulder was bandaged with cloth, blood seeping through. A smart decision, he said. Jack held out the camera. All the files are here. Originals. Nora's copies will be erased. Thorne reached for it. Jack gave it to him. Thorne powered it on and checked. The files were present. He nodded. Good. You are free. He turned and walked to his snowmobile. Jack watched. The tension did not let go. Thorne mounted up and tucked the camera into a pack. He started the engine. Suddenly, he paused. He took out the radio. Drake, stand down. I have the evidence. I am returning. A crackle of static. Copy and the witnesses. Thorne was silent. He looked at the cabin. Jack went still. We let them go, Thorne said at last. The boss will not like that. The boss will not be bothered. The evidence is destroyed. The witnesses, a journalist with no corroboration, a Coast Guard officer without jurisdiction, and a retired medic. Who will believe them? A pause. Your call, Drake said. Thorne put away the radio. He looked at Jack. You got lucky, Doctor. Do not waste it. He drove off. The engine faded into the wind. Jack stood motionless for another minute. Then he stepped inside and shut the door. Nora lowered the pistol. I cannot believe that worked. Tessa sat on the bunk, face in her hands. I gave him everything. Jack came over and crouched. You have the copies. The Federal Bureau of Investigation has the files. This is not the end. But the originals were bait. The real weapon is testimony. Yours, mine, Nora's. He lifted her chin. We are alive. That is a win. She looked at him. Her eyes shone tears or relief. Thank you, she whispered. No need. She leaned in and kissed him. Quick, almost shy. Jack did not pull away. Nora coughed loudly. Hey, save the love story. We need to get out. Tessa drew back, blushing. Jack stood and cleared his throat. Right, let us move. They packed up and stepped out. The Federal Bureau of Investigation arrived the next morning. 3 agents, black suits, hard faces. Special Agent Chris Marcus, about 45, gray at the temples, a gaze that had seen everything. Tessa, Jack, and Nora sat in a station conference room. Coffee, notes, a computer. Marcus listened. He did not interrupt. He took notes. When they finished, he set down his pen. Okay, let me sum up. Aegis North is using a mothballed distant early warning line radar for unregistered activity. You documented equipment and personnel and were pursued by armed employees. You surrendered the camera under duress, but the files were already transmitted to us. He looked at each of them. All correct? Yes, Nora said. Marcus nodded. Good work, especially for civilians. He glanced at Jack, and a retired serviceman. I was just there, Jack said. There at the right time. Marcus smiled. The files you sent confirm the suspicions. Aegis North is conducting illegal telemetry on federal infrastructure. They are compiling vulnerability data and selling it to unknown clients. That is a national threat. Tessa leaned forward. Will they be arrested? Rusk Thorne, Kyle Drake, and 8 more warrants are already signed. The chief executive of Aegis, David Mullen, under investigation. The company on the edge of collapse. He paused. But there is a problem. What problem? Nora asked. Sheriff Rob Kane. He confessed to conspiracy, but only partly. He claims he acted alone, that Aegis did not know his plans for the bridge. He is trying to take the whole fall. Lies, Tessa said. He acted on their orders. Maybe, but without direct proof, the link between Kane and Aegis, his statement, does not meet the standard for the Racketeer-Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act. Mullen could walk. Jack frowned. What do you need? Emails, payments, recorded calls, something that ties Mullen personally to Kane. Tessa thought. I have a contact, a former Aegis accountant. She quit last year, unhappy. She might know something. Marcus nodded. Name? Janice Koo. She lives in Juneau. Good. We will speak with her. He closed the folder. Now you three. Aegis knows who you are. Thorn let you go, but Mullen may not agree. I recommend you go to ground. A few weeks. I will not hide, Tessa said. That is not a suggestion. I have to write the story. People need to know. Marcus looked at her. You will write it after the arrests. Right now, any publication will compromise the investigation. It gives Mullen time to run or burn evidence. Tessa clenched her fists, but nodded. Fine. How long? 2 weeks. Maximum. He stood. By the way, the camera you handed to Thorn, we found it. Where? Jack asked. In his truck, parked by the hotel in Harbor Point. Thorn was asleep in his room when we went in. Marcus smiled. He did not expect us to move this fast. Tessa drew a breath. Are the files intact? Yes. More than that, we found his laptop, correspondence with Mullen, instructions, payment records. He patted the folder. He buried himself. Nora laughed. Karma. Marcus went to the door and paused. One more thing. Your work saved lives. Aegis planned incidents at 3 other sites. A bridge, an airport, a power plant. We prevented them because of you. He nodded. Thank you. He left. Tessa looked at the door, then at Jack. Did we really do it? Yes. I do not feel like a hero. Heroes rarely do. Nora stood and offered Tessa her hand. You did great, Clark. Seriously. Tessa shook it. So did you. And you, Gray. Jack smiled. Just doing the job. Liar, you saved my life. More than once. She paused. I want to thank you. Properly. Dinner? Jack glanced at Nora. She turned away, smiling. Sure, he said. Tonight? We have 2 weeks underground. We need somewhere to hide. Tessa smiled. My place. Tonight, 7 in the evening. I will be there. She left. Nora studied Jack. Do you understand what is happening? What exactly? She is in love with you. Jack was silent. And you with her? Nora, do not deny it. I saw the way you look at her. She stepped closer. Listen, Gray, you are a good man, but you are also a man stuck in the past. Kandahar was 13 years ago. Time to move on. I am trying. Then try with her. She is worth it. Jack nodded. I know. Nora clapped his shoulder. Then do not screw it up. She left. Jack remained alone. He looked out the window. The snow had stopped. The sky was clear, the ocean silver under the sun. For the first time in years, he felt something like hope. Tessa's apartment was small but cozy. 2 rooms, a kitchen, a big window over the harbor. Bookshelves, cameras on the racks, a map of Alaska on the wall with pins places she had reported stories. Jack stood by the window with a cup of coffee. 7 in the evening. The sun was setting pink, slow. Tessa cooked in the kitchen. Garlic, rosemary, wine. Do you drink? She asked. Sometimes. Red? That will do. She brought 2 glasses and handed him one. They clinked. To survival, Tessa said. To survival. They drank. The silence was easy, not tense. Tessa sat on the couch and tucked her legs under. Tell me about life after the service. Jack sat beside her. Not very interesting. I still want to hear. He sighed. I came home, tried to live normal. It did not work. Nightmares, flashes of anger. I could not be around people. He turned the glass in his hand. So I moved here, where no one asks questions, where winter is long and loneliness is normal. Did it help? A little, but loneliness is not a cure. It is a delay. Tessa touched his hand. You are not alone now. No. She smiled. Good. They sat without speaking. She looked at him. I fell in love with you, Jack Gray. Jack's heart pounded. Tessa, do not say anything. Just listen. She slid closer. I know you are afraid. Afraid to lose someone again. Afraid that if you let yourself feel, something will go wrong. But Jack, she touched his face. Life goes wrong all the time. That is no reason not to live. Jack was quiet. Say something, she whispered. He laid his hand over hers. I am afraid too. But when I am with you, the fear is smaller. He met her eyes. I am in love with you too. She smiled, tears on her cheeks. Then kiss me. He did. Slow, gentle, then deeper, more urgent. She wrapped her arms around his neck and pressed closer. He felt her warmth, her heart beating against his chest. They broke for breath. Bed, Tessa whispered. Jack nodded. She took his hand and led him. The bedroom was dark, only moonlight through the curtains. They undressed slowly, unhurried, every touch careful, exploring. Tessa traced the scar on his shoulder. From a helicopter. Yes. She kissed it. Jack ran his fingers down her back, feeling every curve. She shivered under his touch. They lay on the bed. Tessa above him, hair spilling over his face. He brushed a strand aside and looked up at her. You are beautiful. So are you. She kissed him. The world fell away. Only her. Her skin, her breath, her voice whispering his name. Time stretched, then vanished. When it was over, they lay entwined, breathing hard. Tessa rested her head on his chest. He wrapped an arm around her. That was. Yes, he said. It was. She laughed softly. They lay in quiet. Moonlight through the window. Wind whispering. Jack. Yes. Do not leave me. He kissed her forehead. Never. She fell asleep in his arms. Jack stared at the ceiling. For the first time in 13 years, he felt peace. Maybe Nora had been right. Maybe it was time to move on. Maybe he had finally found a reason. A year later, spring. The distant early warning line radar stood officially mothballed under federal oversight. The grounds were cleared. Aegis equipment hauled away as evidence. Sheriff Rob Kane received 5 years in federal prison. He cooperated, so the term was reduced. Rusk Thorne and Kyle Drake 15 years each. David Mullen 25. Aegis North no longer existed. Tessa won the Pulitzer Prize for the investigation. She stood on a stage in New York, thanking family, friends, and one man who reminded her that courage is not the absence of fear, but action in spite of it. Jack watched from the audience, tears in his eyes. After the ceremony, they walked through Central Park, holding hands. Jack? Yes. I am pregnant. He stopped, stared at her. What? She smiled, nervous, joyful. 4 weeks. I just found out. Jack could not breathe. The world spun. We. Yes. She touched his face. Do you want this? He pulled her in, firm, tender. Yes. God, yes. She laughed and cried at once. We are going to be parents. Yes. He kissed her. And it will be the best thing I have ever done. They stood beneath the trees. Spring bloomed around them. New life. New hope. Far away in Alaska, the snow melted. Rivers swelled. The forest woke. And on the mountain where the radar had stood, the wind sang a quiet song. A song for those who survived the storm. A song for those who found each other in the White Veil. A song for a love born in the cold and kept alive. Subscribe to our channel so you do not miss out, because this is nothing compared with what comes next. If you are under 18, do not even think about clicking next.